want to talk about change, and I had a conversation with someone quite recently, and they were just talking about psychotherapy and life and everything else, and they'd asked me, do you think people change? And they were surprised at my answer, because I said, no, people generally don't change. I'm not saying people can't change, they definitely can. I've seen loads of people change, but when I cross paths with so many people, and I'm always curious of their life and where they are in their life now, and I'm seeing all these recurring patterns of behaviours and relationships, and they're not open to change. They're not open to questioning that at all, and they just seem to repeat the same cycles of relationships. And the reason for that, there's quite a few different reasons. Number one is motivation. You know, you need to have a very, very strong reason to change, otherwise you'll just stay where you are. And for me, my motivation was and I've spoken before about this, is how I was stuck in a relationship, and I really felt trapped, and I knew that those people would not change, the relationship wouldn't change, so I had to change. So I had to go deep inside and understand my attachments, understand why my self-esteem was so low that I kept going back into that relationship, and understanding what my needs are and how I can get those needs met away from that relationship. So I was highly motivated, because I knew what life could be like, and I had to hold on to that. But change takes time, and it takes a huge amount of focus. But you know, and a lot of people, they lose their focus because they're impatient, because change is not happening as quickly as they want it to happen. And plus they also get impatient as well. You know, it took me years of therapy and even 40 years of huge amount of self-reflection and self-awareness to catch myself how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and how I'm engaging with people, and how I could be pulled back in. And over time that process becomes easier. But you do need to have reflective skills, and I find sometimes with people, they're so kind of closed, they're not open to change, but they're not open to really exploring who they are and how they ended up where they are now. But I would imagine the biggest roadblock to change is fear, and people's perceptions about what fear means. I had another conversation with someone recently, and she was talking about psychotherapy and how she doesn't want to go because she doesn't want her personality to change. And I had to question that in her, because I don't feel like your personality changes at all. If anything, it helps you find what your real personality is, how you really want to react to situations, the decisions that you want to make, not the ones that you feel other people want you to make. It's about stripping away fear and really just understanding who you are, going to much more depth into who you are. And from that, change happens. You may change your behaviours, you may change your attitudes, but the essence of who you are doesn't change. If anything, you're just freer. And that's the main goal of psychotherapy, is to help people become much more freer inside themselves, so they're not held back by anxiety, by any kind of mental health condition or any kind of relationship problem. You know, and the biggest thing that I find is very important is journaling. And again, you'll find comes up in so many different self-help books, and different people will tell you to journal all the time. And for me, it was very important to me, because I mean, I look back at my journals from maybe 5 years ago, and really to reflect on what I was thinking then in terms of how I'm thinking now. And, you know, there's been a huge change, especially when I look back. Obviously, I was stuck in this really bad relationship, and I actually was quite neurotic about the relationship. And that was me trying to make sense over and over in my head, like this loop going around and non-stop in terms of what was happening in the relationship and why I need to pull away, and really trying to convince myself that I could pull away, but yet emotionally I kept getting pulled back in. But now I look at my journal, and that train of thought just isn't there. Now I focus on my triggers now in relation to who was in my life now, and my goals and all the different things that are holding me back. But we get so accustomed to this change inside ourselves. It's such a subtle thing that we don't realise that we're changing, and that's why journal is important, just to remind us where we are now in relation to where we were before, and just to benchmark change. But I suppose the point of this video is really question your relationship with change. Are you comfortable with it? Are you open to change, or are you a closed book? It's up to you. It's your life. It's your choice. I personally feel like everybody has work to do. And this type of work, it's a lifelong process. You don't just kind of spend a couple of weeks reflecting, or a couple of months, or a couple of years. In the same way that if you want to adopt a healthy lifestyle, you can't just decide to, well, I'm going to lose a few pounds and I'll go on a diet for 2 months and then go right back to the way they were. They have to constantly look at their food, their exercise regime, their sleep patterns, and everything, that really all the different components of a healthy life. In the same way and that's true of your physical health, and it's true of your psychological health as well. It's a constant process of just going on what's happening now, being curious of you, and deciding maybe what would be an alternative way. How have I reacted all my life up to now, and how can I react going forward? So change is good, and do not resist it. If anyone has any questions, please just shoot me an email, or any comments, you can put them down at the bottom of this video, and please give it a share, guys. And that's it. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.